Honestly, Jake Paul, trash. Tommy Fury, trash.
Criticize you for going 6 rounds with Jake Paul. How do you feel about that?
I deserve it.
The boxing world exploded after Jake Paul's knockout loss to Anthony Joshua. But one reaction stood out above the rest. Gervonta Tank Davis was reportedly laughing as he watched the replay, mocking Jake Paul's punching technique and wide, awkward swings. His reaction summed up what many fighters believe stepping in with an elite heavyweight like Anthony Joshua was always a massive risk. And that was just the beginning. According to reports, Gervonta Davis laughed while reacting to the knockout, joking about Jake Paul's wide punches and unpolished movement. Tank highlighted the clear skill gap between a lifelong elite boxer and a social media star turned fighter. For many fans, Tank's reaction reinforced the harsh reality raw power and confidence alone aren't enough at the highest level of boxing. Ryan Garcia also weighed in on X, sharing his blunt opinion on the fight. He wrote, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse." Garcia suggested that Tank Davis' speed, timing, and precision would have posed an even bigger problem than Anthony Joshua. But the conversation didn't stop there. Analyst Fannin revealed that there is now a real possibility of a defamation lawsuit involving Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. The issue stems from Jake Paul allegedly accusing Davis of mistreating a woman, an accusation Fannin insists is completely false according to him. The situation is escalating beyond boxing and could turn into a serious legal dispute. Reactions poured in from across the boxing community.
And real possibility of Gervonta Davis filing a lawsuit against Jake Paul for defamation. A very, very real and possible thing. Jake Paul could be responsible for defamation against Gervonta Davis. I absolutely believe that to be the case. That's because Jake Paul said that he saw a videotape where Gervonta Davis punched a girl in her face. There's no testimony by anybody at all that Gervonta Davis did that. The girl herself is not accusing him of that. The videotape that somebody in the media said that they saw, a journalist said that they were given a copy to, or they were shown a copy of, didn't say it showed anything about Gervonta Davis punching the girl or hitting the girl. It was just that the person categorized it as it looking as if Gervonta was forcing her to leave the club. So basically, she was...
Chris Eubank Jr. shared a respectful message on X, stating that regardless of the result, Jake Paul stepped into the ring with an Olympic gold medalist and former heavyweight world champion, something most fighters would never attempt. He praised Paul for going the distance until the very end and not giving up. Meanwhile, KSI added humor to the situation, posting a reaction image on X with the caption joking about waking up to Jake Paul getting knocked out, sparking laughs across social media.
Don't mind me, just smoking on that Jake Paul pack. Honestly, Jake Paul, trash. Tommy Fury, trash.
Chris Mannix summed up his feelings in just 3 words. "This is horrifying." Despite the brutal nature of the loss, some legendary voices came to Jake Paul's defense. Former world champion Antonio Tarver praised Paul's performance on YouTube, pointing out that he survived 6 rounds against Anthony Joshua without making it an easy night. Tarver emphasized that many fighters would have been knocked out far earlier, and that Paul showed real toughness and preparation. His comments added credibility to the idea that Jake Paul took this challenge seriously. International Boxing Hall of Famer Labella delivered one of the harshest takes. He stated on X that Anthony Joshua should feel ashamed, arguing that the fight hurt AJ's legacy more than it helped it. Labella praised Jake Paul as a smart businessman, while questioning Joshua's passion and commitment to boxing. This opinion sparked debate, with fans divided on whether Joshua's performance lived up to expectations. Medical expert Dr. Brian Sutter also weighed in, explaining the seriousness of Jake Paul's fractured jaw.
Antonio Tarver after another big fight. Jake Paul stopped by Anthony Joshua tonight. What did you make of it?
I expected it. AJ looked like he was putting that pressure on, but credit to Jake Paul. He didn't make it easy, bro. He wasn't no sitting duck. You know, he got on his footwork, used his ring, was moving a lot, and he landed some shots. So hats off to Jake Paul, but he was in there surviving, and he didn't make it easy for AJ. But AJ landed that right hand. I knew it was over after that.
Why did it take so long, do you think?
Oh, Jake Paul wasn't a sitting duck. You know, he was putting his mind to the game, but just didn't have enough in his bag. He just, like I said, he got to get those lessons and evolve more as a fighter. You know,
you want to see him continue?
Yeah, he's going to continue, of course. Just got to pick him right, bro, and give yourself a chance. You know what I mean? I think he was just biting off a little bit more than he could chew tonight. You know, his aspirations was a little bit far out.
I think AJ could have got it done a bit quicker.
I mean, I think he was in there to do it, but like I say, Jake didn't make it easy, bro. It's hard to hit somebody when they moving, especially the way he was moving lateral, just, you know, circling. So he had to catch up with him. He hit him with
He warned that such injuries can cause long-term pain, eating difficulties, and potential complications, if not treated properly. Dr. Sutter stressed that repeated injuries of this nature could affect Paul's ability to compete in the future. His analysis reminded fans that boxing injuries are more than viral moments, they carry real consequences. Jake Paul's business partner Nikiza Bidarian shared an emotional reaction, saying she was heartbroken but proud. She explained that Jake delivered his best performance under extreme pressure, facing one of the most elite heavyweights in boxing history.
Man, I watched the fight pretty boring in the first half before AJ finally turned it on and we got the outcome that we all expected. After the fight though, Jake told Ariel Helwani that he was worried that he had broke his jaw. He said multiple times he was concerned that he had a fractured jaw. And certainly looking at this knockout punch that Anthony Joshua delivers, it is absolutely a possibility that Jake does in fact have a jaw fracture. I'd honestly be more concerned about a concussion. In fact, with most jaw fractures, the more important thing initially is to look for other injuries to the head, to the neck, to the airway. The jaw fracture potentially being there or not is going to be lower on the list often than whether there's damage to the airway, damage to the head. And so very possible to have a concussion or some residual symptoms from this, as Jake Paul's head is relatively still here. We see AJ comes in with that right, and that sudden, quick, violent rotation of the head is going to transmit a lot of rotational force, not only through the brain, but also through the brainstem, absolutely leading to possibility of a concussion. Thankfully, it didn't completely knock him out, but could absolutely result in some delayed symptoms. But you can see where the punch comes in, landing square on that left side of Paul's face. Jake's reaction was pretty telling too. Right away after it, we could see him going down on the canvas here and being very shocked. It doesn't look like there's any obvious deformity to the jaw. We won't necessarily always see a deformity to the jaw, but you could tell he clearly had realized that something serious had happened there and feeling the full power of AJ's right. And finally, on this last view, we can see a little bit better the exact location where the punch comes in. We'll talk about our jaw anatomy, the different areas of the bones, but your temporomandibular joint where your—
Her words reflected the feelings of many fans' disappointment mixed with admiration. Anthony Joshua addressed both the fight and the public reaction. He stated that Jake Paul deserves criticism for stepping into the ring, but also admitted that there was little Paul could have done differently. Given the massive gap in experience and skill, Joshua's response struck a balance between accountability and respect, showing his understanding of the pressure that comes with high-profile fights.
Excuses, AJ didn't look great, I'll be honest. He didn't look great. He didn't look like, you know, an AJ we thought we were going to get, the marauder, the guy that was going to come forward and bang out Jake in one round. Pause. But yeah, no, so I just think it was a mix of AJ didn't look great. Jake didn't engage as much as people maybe thought he would, even though I kind of thought this is exactly how the fight would go. And it took AJ a little bit longer, but eventually he got the job done.
I mean, look, it was a big ring. We knew it was going to be a big ring. It looked at times like it was a fight on a football pitch sometimes. It was a big ring.
Jake made it feel very big because he hugged those ropes. You know, it wasn't—
You've got to cut the ring off, right?
100%. And this is the thing where AJ deserves, you know, the criticism of a guy that has his skill level, a guy that has his experience level. You shouldn't be getting caught up in the idea that you have to go in and put him out in one round. You said in the whole fight week leading up that you weren't going to worry about the crowd, that you weren't going to worry about the mind games. And sure enough, round one comes out and you're trying to step to him, but you're forgetting all your fundamentals. I heard everything about how AJ would go to Usyk's camp and they would fix his feet. His feet were flat. He walked in crossing his feet over and he chased Jake. Chased him the entire fight until Jake got tired enough to be caught. So that was stuff that I looked at and was like, yeah, this deserves criticism. Jake.
Respect, criticism, and controversy all rolled into one. Whether you see this fight as a brave attempt or a harsh reality check, one thing is clear: the boxing world is still watching Jake Paul very closely. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.